This genuine smile has been studied more than any smile on earth. It's called the Duchenne smile. And the Duchenne smile has shown that people who have it, just imagine this, people who are listening to this now, who have the Duchenne smile, they're more likely married, less likely divorced, they have a happier life, they live longer, healthier life, more friends, deeper friendships, and they get laid more often. That's the ultimate biohack. Imagine you can bring all that into life.
Okay, welcome back to Heja Framtiden, the Swedish podcast on the future. My name is Christian von Essen. I'm recording from Epicenter in Stockholm today at SIME Conference 2019. And I'm sitting here with David JP Phillips. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks, Christian.
Swedish citizen, but an international speaker.
That's right.
And can you elaborate a bit about what you're doing when it comes to public speaking? Because you're doing public speaking on public speaking.
That is absolutely true. I think this is probably the most challenging thing you can speak about because you're constantly judged on how good you are at it.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, for me, this has been my passion my entire life. And my passion has been in storytelling. It's been in PowerPoint. I studied 5,000 speakers for 7 years to distill 110 common skills we use when we communicate. But still, it wasn't enough. There was something lacking. Even if you used every single possible body language and non-verbal communication on stage, even if you used stories, and even if you used awesome PowerPoints, something was missing. And what I realized was that there's something called external and internal communication. So external is learning all these skills. Internal is the stuff you tell yourself in your own head. And when I realized that, and I started learning and teaching that, it changed everything. Because suddenly I could bring my clients to the level that I wanted them to, because they were constantly saying bad things about themselves in their head. Like, oh, I wonder how this will go. Oh, I'll fail here. Oh, this PowerPoint wasn't good enough. And why didn't they clap more? And so on and so forth. It makes you a miserable person. And it makes you a bad presenter in the long run. When you own your own head and you own the skills. So it's a combination between personal development and public speaking.
That's what I was going to say. It's not just about public speaking, right?
No, that's the magic, So when you own your own brain, when you know how to inject these chemicals that I spoke about in the keynote, wow, it changes life.
Referring to those chemicals, I mean, you take an interesting approach. I think it's sort of a biohacking approach to the hormones and the signal substances that we already have in our body and how we can utilize them to get our message across.
Yeah,
right. And,
absolutely.
Tell a story. You talk about the devil's cocktail and what's the other one?
The angel's
cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. So there are metaphors for the kind of signaling substances and hormones you have in your body. So devil's cocktail is the most popular one today. So this is the one that most people consume. And I define it as 50% adrenaline and 50% cortisol. I.e., more or less, it's a cocktail filled with stress. And that is what people consume most days. They go into Facebook and they feel jealous of someone, and then they stress to work, they stress back to work, and they've got too much loans, too little money saved up, and life is very stressful. And they have this constant devil's cocktail in their blood. And that limits their critical thinking, it limits their creativity, limits their optimism, limits their performance, so it's really just insane to consume that one. What you should be consuming is the angel's cocktail. And the angel's cocktail is what I mentioned in the talk was oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and dopamine, and even testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. All these hormones, when they are in balance and when they're the good version of them, it makes you more creative, it makes you smile more, it makes you more optimistic, it makes it possible to really enjoy life, to love other people, to love yourself, to look forward to things and to be motivated and engaged. The variables are insane. And the insane thing about this is that people kind of consciously choose to drink the devil's cocktail. That's batshit insane.
So I suppose there are kind of easy tools for increasing the Angel's cocktail.
Yeah.
How can we do it ourselves?
Okay, so a quickie is, say, endorphins. Endorphins comes from the word indigenous morphine. So it's related to morphine. It's a cousin to morphine. And it's beautiful. So we get it when we exercise, for instance. But we also get it when we smile and we laugh. So that means that you can consciously choose to do what?
Smile more.
Smile more often. Not only smile more often, but there's a particular smile which means that you contract orbioculare oculi and zygomatic major. When you contract these two muscles at the same time, the muscles around your eyes and the muscles around your mouth, when you contract both of those simultaneously, it's called a genuine smile. This genuine smile has been studied more than any smile on earth. It's called the Duchenne smile. And the Duchenne smile has shown that people who have it, just imagine this, people who are listening to this now, who have the Duchenne smile, they're more likely married, less likely divorced, they have a happier life, they live longer, healthier life, more friends, deeper friendships, and they get laid more often. That's the ultimate biohack. Imagine you can bring all that into life. And so 3 years ago, I didn't have the Duchenne smile. So I learned how to launch the Duchenne smile. And since then, on my reviews, on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, people write like, I love your smile. Thanks for your smile. La, 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 la. Didn't have it before. So it's something that you can really learn. And so my tip is just this. In the Angel's Cocktail, hack your endorphins by smiling genuinely 100 times a day. Learn how to smile consciously at stuff that maybe is not fun to you, but your brain works from the inside out and the outside in. So when you start smiling, your brain goes like, woo, party, woohoo, here we go. Let's produce indigenous morphines. So that's endorphins. So that's one like simple biohack to induce your Angel's Cocktail. And there's a hack for every single signaling substance. Well, I don't know if we have time to cover that, but it's up to you.
I suppose exercise and physical intimacy and connection to others is important.
Absolutely, those are important. Well, have a look at one of oxytocin then. Absolute core is gratefulness. So gratefulness has been clinically measured that it increases oxytocin levels. We live in a world today where we're not grateful for stuff. We're like, yeah, it's hot water in the tap. Yeah, toilet works. Yeah, got food on the table. We don't care. But if we stop and we're like, whoa, it's hot water in the tap. That's insane, man. Woo, thank you, plumber. And you go like, God, the food tastes amazing. God, this is great. You don't have to exaggerate it like that. But God damn it, be conscious that you are spoiled to insane levels. And every single time you stand in that situation, just be consciously grateful for the thing in front of you. And that will build oxytocin levels.
It's like the Louis C.K. bit when people are complaining on airplanes all the time. And he's like, you're in a fucking plane, man. You're flying. It's awesome.
10,000 meters in the air. Come on. Be grateful.
You complain about your leg space.
Leg space is too tight. No, that's a good one.
Okay, so these tricks can also be useful in of course, business environments and commercials. You showed the Volvo commercial with Zlatan, which tapped into some of the emotional triggers for these substances, right? Are these also hacks for storytelling? Is that your point?
Yeah.
Just create some emotional engagement in your talk.
The more emotionally invested you make people, the more attracted they become and the less critical they are. And the whole thing with us is emotional investment. Imagine that you watch a movie and they're not creating laughter, they're not creating sadness, they're not creating love, they're not creating connection, nor pride, nothing. You won't watch any of it. You'll turn it off consistently. But if you create a movie, or if you create a life where you create this in other human beings, you'll become a movie to them. I'm so nerdy. If I pick up my phone, I've even indexed my friends after these signaling substances.
Really?
So if I wake up in the morning, I go like, today I'm low on endorphins. I pick my phone up and I call Marcus. because the first thing he does whenever I call him is laugh. He laughs at everything, and it makes me so happy. And 20 minutes later, I'm smiling like never before. This is storytelling. This is life. And I guess the one thing I want to send with you, which is really important for the people listening, and that is that you have a stress reaction hormone which is called cortisol. And I said that's the devil's cocktail. The problem with that one is that it reduces the effect of all the positive ones. So look at it as it's beating the shit out of oxytocin. It's beating dopamine. It's beating testosterone. It's beating serotonin. That's why after a while, people who've been stressed for a long time, they can't have sex anymore because their apparatus doesn't work. They don't want to do it anymore. And that's after a while you become depressed because cortisol, kaboom, hits it. So if it's one thing that you take with you from this pod, one single one, it's reduce the cortisol in your life. And I have an analogy for it, and it goes like this. Imagine that your brain is a garden. And all the serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, testosterone, estrogen, and so on and so forth are flowers. Beautiful, growing flowers. And then one day it starts raining. And as a gardener, you look out and you go like, yeah, I love rain. But it carries on raining for 4 months. Your entire garden is rotten. And that is your brain. If you allow cortisol to reign in your brain, it'll reduce the effects of your positive hormones. And it'll make you depressed. It'll make you anxious. It'll make you unmotivated. It'll kick out your sexual desires if you let it go on for too long. So key thing from this pod, let it stop raining in your brain.
So you mean that we need it in small doses?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Bit of rain, a bit of sun. A bit of rain, a bit of sun. Contrast is everything in life. To leave the Angels and Devils cocktail privately, and then you asked me on storytelling. And yeah, the beautiful thing with storytelling, imagine that you as a listener, or you and I, we want somebody to become more generous to us. That happens, doesn't it? We want them to be more generous. Yeah. Okay, so a clinical study from the US has shown that a story 3 minutes long could increase oxytocin levels so much that it increased generosity by 80%. That's a mind-blowing number. Mind-blowing. So if you go into a meeting and you do not deliver oxytocin, all the people in the meeting are now less generous. If you just taken the opportunity to deliver a story which creates oxytocin, you have an 80% advantage over these people.
And how do I create a story that creates oxytocin?
By setbacks.
Okay.
Setbacks. You can't, if you're like a software developer, a software company, you can't go, and then we build version 1.0 and everybody bought it. And then we build version 2.0 and even more people bought it. And then we build version 3.0 and now we're the biggest company in the world. That doesn't work. That's a hero story. But what you have to do is go, we built version 1.0. Nobody liked it. And we fought and we tried. And even our landlord pushed us out. At the end, we were actually sitting in my mother's basement coding. Water was dripping down from the roof. There was mold around us. We ate leftovers from our neighbor. But we just carried on coding because we knew how much this would mean to you. And then you go even deeper. And then after a while, you go like, and then somebody found us. And then when they found us, we launched this, which led to version 2.0. And
oh, is that why you have these story arches in movie scripts?
Yeah.
Where you get in the middle, it's like the downfall.
Yeah.
Everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
It's like, what's it called? The pivot of the story?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every single story has it. Which is, not every single one, every single good story has it and does it in a good way.
So that you climb up from the pit, grateful and humble and cheering on.
Yes, exactly.
For the rest of the film or the story. Okay.
Yeah.
So this could be used for pitching, for example, investors and.
Oh my God! It changes the entire scenario. You know, pitching without this intentionally, it's the absolute opposite of doing.
Because you don't want to you don't want to be whining.
Oh no! You don't want to be whining. So yeah.
I suppose there's a balance there.
Oh yeah. Anything in communication is a balance. We should know that when we communicate with our wives, in our case, balance is key, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Balance is key. Timing is key when you say things, how you say things, with which emphasis. I'm not saying males versus women. I'm just saying that we are two males and we communicate with our ladies. But I think our ladies communicate with us in the same way. Timing is super crucial. What they say, how they say it, with which emphasis they say it with, all makes such a difference in communication. So yeah, Fingerspitzengefühlen.
What is your obsession with PowerPoint? Why is that so difficult?
I think it's just that you kill people with it so easily.
You have a talk called Death by PowerPoint.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that PowerPoint used well can be really, really good. It's amazing. I love PowerPoint. I use PowerPoint myself. But people tend to go like, ooh, I've got a PowerPoint. Then I don't have to present. I got my PowerPoint. That's my presentation. I can hide behind the screen. And the insane thing is that they put 40 hours of work into their PowerPoint and maybe 1 hour of preparation and delivery. While it should be easily 30 hours of preparation and delivery and 10 hours of content. So we just use it in the incorrect ways. It's, you know what? I get physically sick when I see a white PowerPoint filled with sweat and black text. I just know it's going to be a waste of time for everyone watching it.
Especially when the presenter is actually reading the text.
Oh my God. Don't make me upset. I hate that.
Cortisol.
That is cortisol. Yeah, you hit my cortisol now. You gave me a devil's cocktail. Thank you. God damn it.
So I suppose a lot of this relates to, as you said, stress, too high stress levels and burnout eventually. So this is not just a quick fix biohack for public speaking. It's actually important for our society.
Yeah.
And our economy.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Definitely. Changes so much.
Because people know nothing about hormones.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just act as life falls upon us. It's like life just happens, and we become a product of society. We become a product of our parents, of media, and Facebook, Instagram, and Google. They all want us to become addicted to dopamine. And when you look at somebody who's addicted to dopamine, the dopamine is firing like this. It's just booming in their head. Okay, and then they come up with the idea that they should clean the garage. And dopamine then goes in this speed. And your brain goes, I can't take this. I can't take this pace. This is just too slow. And so your motivation to clean the garage is zero. So a core thing that I train is to reduce your addictiveness to dopamine. Don't allow these quick hits. It takes about 7 to 10 days to reset your brain to normal dopamine levels. Do you know what happens then? After 7 to 10 days when you've gone cold turkey, you go like, wonder what I used my phone for before. And you go down to that garage and you clean it. Because your brain has become adapted to a very, very slow pace. But if it gets to choose between eating candy, which is, or celery, which is, or watching Netflix, which is, and cleaning the garage, which is very slow. And my recommendation there is to have a balance. And my personal balance is 85-15. So 85% slow dopamine. So 85% of my wake time I spend inducing slow dopamine. I do real things. I play board games. I create things. I draw things. I spend time with people. 15% of the time, I watch Netflix or I watch YouTube or I go on Instagram. But what's scary is as soon as I expand those 15% to 25%, it takes over my entire life. And it doesn't want me to do anything but that. Whoever's listening, have a look at where do you get your quick dopamine from? And find your balance. Is it 80-20? Is it 90-10? It's different for us all. But when you find that balance, my God, you become a different person. Balance is key.
So some kind of a social media detox would be
exactly
preferable.
Social media is one of these quick dopamines.
And I think viewing it as candy is pretty good. It's a pretty good metaphor. It's like you don't want candy lying around the house because then you want to eat it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but the thing is, if you stop eating candy for 10 days, you have a particular mushroom or toxic in your gut, which is called candida, and that dies after 10, 15 days, which means that you won't want to eat sugar anymore. Same thing here. It's not called candida, but what you do is you lower your resistance for dopamine. You have to put away your phone for 7 to 10 days, and you are now back to a reset level of how your brain should work. Because if you don't do that, you are playing a very dangerous game. Dopamine, I call that fabricated happiness. So imagine a scale from 0 to 10, where you have a person on a 3. Do they want more happiness in their life? Yeah. And so they go for dopamine. They eat a cinnamon bun and they go, woo, up to a 7 or 8. And they watch Netflix and go like, woo, 7 or 8. And then they pick up their phone and check Instagram, woo, 7 or 8. And then it crashes again. The problem is that it crashes constantly. So we're never happy in the long run. What these people should have done is reduce cortisol, the raining in the brain, remove fast dopamine. And that will allow your foundation happiness to level out at level 6 or 7. Our brains are made to be fundamentally happy. It's just that we keep on torturing our own brains in the society we live in.
Yeah, and I make a point of that as well in my talks, that if we consume news media for 5 hours a day,
yeah,
I mean, of course we're going to internalize all the misery, and you walk around thinking that the world is shit.
Oh yeah,
it's going to hell.
Oh yeah,
because that's all you hear.
Yeah,
for 5 hours every day, and I think a news media detox is equally important.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're looking at a total detox. Just remove shit like that. No Netflix, no sugar, no mobile phone. Just boom, cold turkey.
So what should we do?
I don't know. My answer is do what every single human being did before the 1970s. What did people do before 1970s?
I don't know. Ride bicycles.
Ride bicycles is one thing, but they did so much. You know what's scary when I ask people today is, do you have a hobby? 90% they said, yeah, I used to. Because hobbies is slow, dopamine. And if they can pick up their phone and watch Netflix instead of YouTube, which one does their brain pick? Easily. The one that requires less energy. So this is super scary. And I've seen this coming during the last 15 years. People are losing their hobbies and they're losing their interests.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's sad.
It's true for the kids as well.
Oh, yes.
Because all they want to do is sit on the couch and play iPad.
Yeah, exactly. And what did you do when you were 10, 12?
I played computer games.
You did? At 10 and 12? What computer did you have?
Amiga.
Was that around? Okay, so that didn't come until I was 15.
Okay.
But the thing with Amiga and the NES 8 is
but I played lots of sports as well.
Yeah. The thing with them is that they weren't built to become addictive. Our games today on computers are optimized for addiction. Absolutely optimized. YouTube, did you know that 75% of everything that people watch is AI driven? i.e. YouTube figures out what you are addicted to and it just brings more to you. So how can they trick you to addiction? It's freaking something that the government shouldn't be allowed. Really, for kids under 18, anything that produces that amount of dopamine should not be allowed. It is worse than cigarettes in a way. Not in a health way, but it's like the same addictiveness. And it's terrible. And the NES 8, Nintendo 8 bits. Do you know what happened when you died?
Had to restart.
Yeah. Is that the way games work today?
You can always watch a commercial and skip a few.
Exactly. You can watch a commercial and skip a couple of versions. And you don't actually die today. You remain on the same level that you just previously were because they invented something called save. So before, it was almost like Nintendo 8-bit. It trained us in life because we found a girlfriend and we had a beautiful time with this girlfriend and she ditched us and life restarted. But with the new games today, it's like, found a girlfriend, ditched me, but I'm still on that level. I just need to find a new girlfriend. And we just carry on. I think, the stuff we did on Amiga and 8-bit, it trained us to life, The stuff today, that's not how life works. You can't save life. Restart stuff.
So what is your best tip for making the world a better place in the future?
I would say that put a global regulation on fast dopamine. Yeah, makes us addicted to stuff that we shouldn't be addicted to, and it's entirely legal. It's like we give the entire world a drug, and it makes everybody unhappy in the long run, and we allow it. And not only do we allow it, we give it to our kids.
I think I did hit your cortisol.
Yeah, I got really irritated there for a while. It's like, God damn it! Just don't allow that shit. I'm just so sad. God, everything just is so. But do you know what? I'm part owner of a virtual reality company, and I've got an Oculus Quest at home. Have you tried them?
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Great.
Because I hooked my kid up onto that, and they play whatever game. There's a fishing game, there's a dancing game, there's whatever, and they're sweating when they're done. So I see a bright future. Even if I don't know if we can control this addictiveness, but at least we can make them addictive to stuff that is physically demanding, and that is VR. And the stuff with virtual reality, when we get these body suits on and senses stimulation, I think we're going into something we can't stop. But I don't think it'll be worse than where we're at the moment. We're in this little transition shift at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Do you have a good reading tip or podcast tip?
Well, Heja Framtiden is a good pod, apparently.
Yep.
Good questions asked.
Yep.
I don't, let's see, give me a reading tip. The Happy Brain is a book I just read a couple of weeks ago. I like that one. The Happy Brain. And the Buddha's Brain. I love those two. So those, I just read them recently. The Happy Brain and the Buddha's Brain, I don't know the authors, but those titles, will just find them on Kindle or wherever. And a personal thing that I just want to throw in is that I have a website called the jpuniversity.com, and all that I've spoken about you can learn there. So you can go there and learn more.
Yeah, and you also have workshops in storytelling and public speaking, right?
Yeah. DavidJPPhillips.com. You just go there and learn more.
Who do you think I should interview?
Man, I would love to interview Hans Rosling, but that's not possible anymore. He was a hero. I really liked him.
Yeah, I got his daughter-in-law.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I think Ed Izzard, if you get him, he's my idol. He's the one that scored the best. When I did this studying 5,000 speakers for 7 years, I found 110 skills. He's the one that scored the biggest score.
Okay.
He scored 104.5. And I've never seen a speaker score higher than that.
So what is his secret?
He's dedicated his life to public speaking. And what really brings up points is role play. Role play allows you to change your voice so much, it allows you to use body language so much, that you apply so many of these 110 skills in one session. So role play is, and people love role play. I did some role play on the stage today, and you can see people light up like candles when you do it.
Maybe we touched upon it in the beginning, but what kind of effects can it have to become better at public speaking on your personal life?
Well, I would say that a lot of people, they think public speaking is standing on a stage. My definition of public speaking is you speak in front of one person or two or three or four in the coffee room, at home with your kids, with you now, with my cameraman who's sitting here and filming as well. Every single interaction you have with another human being, the quality of that is controlled by your ability to communicate. And the better you become at controlling your communication, the better you can become at every single instance of interaction with another human being. And the beautiful thing with that is that as soon as a person like that walks up on stage, they knock it out of the park because they're good in real life. So public speaking is about practicing public speaking in your everyday life. That'll make you awesome on stage, and it'll make you a human being that people are attracted to.
So a better partner and parent and co-worker.
Absolutely. influences every single thing you do. Out of all the 110 steps, people sometimes ask me, what's the most important one to get rid of? And the most important one is your filler sounds, where you go, because the interesting thing with them is that we use the highest concentration of filler sounds we usually use when we're nervous, we don't know what we're going to say, when we're lying, when we've lost the train of thought, then we use them. And the problem with that is that even if you've prepared for weeks on your subject and you know it inside out, if you use filler sounds, it'll sound like you don't know what you're talking about. And the opposite is true as well. You can ask me to present anything and it'll seem like I know it so well because I have no filler sounds. So if you're listening, if you do have filler sounds, the trick to get rid of them is that every single time they pop up, you do a quick breathe in instead. So you don't go, you go just a small breathe in, and then you carry on. And if you consciously practice that for 2 or 3 weeks, you can get rid of 90% of your filler sounds. And I promise you, people will look at you differently. They'll behave differently in your company because you've just increased your credibility ethos, because it sounds like you just know your shit.
Sometimes I would like to send the uncut version of these interviews to the people that I interview.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because they only get to hear the finished edited version.
Nice, yeah.
And some of them, they have so many filler sounds and so much weird breathing and coughs and stuff. So I spend a lot of time with the filler sounds.
Yeah. Well done there. Okay, so you know your stuff. Yeah,
I know I have them too. It really annoys me.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to before each sentence?
Become conscious, breathe in, and do it consciously for 2 or 3 weeks. That'll change the pattern in your brain, and it'll make a difference for you as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, David, for joining Heja Framtiden. Check out davidjpphillips.com for more information, and keep track of your dopamine levels and oxytocin levels and cortisol levels.
Boom. Yes, and smile more, people.
Smile more. Yeah, that's good. Hejaframtiden.se. You can find everything you need to know. We're recording from Epicenter in Stockholm at SIME 2019. Thank you for listening.